Alright, here's your story reworked with all the guidelines in mind. I've changed character names, varied the sentences, expanded where possible, and kept it natural and conversational, ready for AI narration. Every Monday morning, you wake up to that shrill beep of your alarm, jolting you awake. The bed feels like a cozy cocoon, so warm and inviting that all you want is to stay curled up a little longer. Your mind softly whispers, just 5 more minutes won't hurt. But at the same time, somewhere across town, someone else hears that same alarm and springs into action without hesitation. While you're still caught in the comfort of your blankets, this other person is already meditating, working out, and tackling the day's biggest challenge before most folks even blink their eyes open. What differentiates these two people isn't talent, luck, or some superpower. It's sheer discipline. Let me be brutally honest with Yowers the cold truth. We live in a world practically designed to make us weak. Everywhere you look, instant gratification is promised. Social media feeds us dopamine hits every few seconds, keeping us hooked. Food delivery apps satisfy our cravings in under half an hour, and streaming platforms make waiting for our favorite shows a thing of the past. We've become addicted to the easy route. But here's the problem: easy never built character, and it certainly hasn't made anyone great. Take Marcus Aurelius, for example. He was the most powerful man in the ancient world, able to indulge in any pleasure imaginable, yet he chose discipline instead. He once wrote in his journal, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Recognize this and you will find strength." For him, it wasn't just philosophy, it was survival. Leading an empire demanded mental toughness, something that only disciplined thinking could forge. The Stoics understood a lesson we've lost in today's world. Discipline isn't about punishment or deprivation. It's about freedom. When you learn to master yourself, you become unshakable. When you control your impulses, you control your destiny. And when you discipline your mind, you open doors to possibilities that weak-minded people will never see. But here's the thing about discipline: one often talks about what really lies beneath it. It's not about becoming some robot or suppressing your human side. Genuine discipline of that life-changing kind comes from understanding what you deeply want and aligning your actions with those desires. It's about clarity. When you know exactly what you want, saying no to distractions and temptations becomes almost automatic, effortless even. Think back to the last time you felt genuinely proud of yourself. I bet it wasn't when you chose the easier option. More than likely, it was when you pushed through resistance, when you did what needed to be done despite feeling like avoiding it. When you chose growth over comfort, that's the true reward of discipline. And honestly, that feeling is far more satisfying than any fleeting pleasure social media or junk food can give. The ancient Stoics weren't just theorists, they lived by these principles, creating practical laws anyone can follow regardless of their circumstances. Epictetus, who went from being a slave to one of the most respected philosophers in history, taught that nobody can harm you without your permission. This isn't just emotional resilience, it's disciplined thinking. When you control how you respond to things mentally, you control your entire experience of life. Today, I want to share with you 10 Stoic laws that act like hacks for your mind, principles that will push you towards more discipline. These aren't feel-good clicks or motivational fluff. These are battle-tested rules that have empowered ordinary people to accomplish extraordinary things over 2,000 years. But I need to be clear, knowledge alone won't do it. You can binge-watch every self-help video on the internet, but if you don't actually practice what you learn, nothing will change. These laws demand effort, patience, and most importantly, the willingness to be uncomfortable. Your future self, the person you want to become, is counting on the choices you make today. Every moment you opt for discipline over impulse, you're shaping that future. Every time you choose growth over comfort, you're betraying your potential. Before we jump into these transformative laws, I want you to type this affirmation in the comments. I choose discipline over comfort, and I am becoming unstoppable. If you're tired of feeling stuck, hit that like button. Drop a comment affirming your commitment to discipline. Share this message with someone who needs to toughen up, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Now, let's dive into the first law, the law of morning conquest. As Seneca said, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Your morning is that fresh start. How you begin the day sets the tone for how it will finish. The first Stoic law is simple, but it's profound: conquer your morning, and you conquer your entire day. Yet, most people wake up and immediately reach for their phones. They drown their minds in everyone else's problems, opinions, and distractions before they've even had a chance to think their own thoughts. That's not discipline, it's surrender. The Stoics knew that the early hours of the day are sacred. Marcus Aurelius didn't kick off his mornings by reading reports from remote provinces. Instead, he spent that time examining his own thoughts, recalling his values, and setting his intentions. Your morning routine is like declaring war against mediocrity. When you do something hard first thing, whether that's exercising, meditating, or tackling your most important task, or training your brain to choose discomfort over ease, you're building what psychologists call willpower muscle. But here's the key. Your morning routine must be meaningful to you. If you just copy what works for someone else because it's trendy, you're missing the point. Personal responsibility and self-awareness matter most. What helps one CEO might not suit a college student, and what works for someone without kids might not fit a parent's schedule. The real strength of morning conquest isn't in the specific activity, but in keeping promises to yourself. When you tell yourself you'll wake up at 5 a.m. and actually do it, you're reinforcing trust in yourself. When you commit to reading those 20 pages and follow through, your subconscious learns that you honor your commitments. Think about the most disciplined people you know. They usually have morning routines they stick to no matter what. Discipline is like a muscle, getting stronger each time you use it, weakening whenever you neglect it. Beginning each day with intention also takes advantage of your brain's prefrontal cortex, decision-making hub, which is strongest early in the day. As the hours pass and decision fatigue sets in, it gets harder to choose the hard things. That's why breakfast is the easiest time to eat healthy. But discipline isn't just about productivity, it's about identity. When you consistently wake up early and do difficult things, you start to see yourself as someone who does hard things. Your actions shape how you see yourself, and your self-image influences your actions. If you repeatedly choose discipline, you're more likely to make disciplined choices all day long. Your morning doesn't need to be lengthy or complicated. Making your bed, doing 10 push-ups, or jotting down 3 things you're grateful for is enough. What matters is consistency and effort, not perfection. And yes, some mornings will be tougher than others. You might stumble. That's okay. The true test isn't in never failing, but in how you respond. The disciplined person doesn't criticize themselves and slithly get back on track. Resilience is built on setbacks, not avoidance. Moving on to the second law of emotional ownership. Epictetus, who knew hardship intimately as a former slave, taught us a life-changing truth. It's not what happens to you that matters most, but how you respond. This is the core of emotional discipline. Most people live like emotional prisoners, triggered by someone cutting them off in traffic, a snide remark from a coworker, or a delayed reply to a text. They let their emotions control the day. That's not living. That's reacting. The problem is, most believe feelings happen to us passively, like whether something we can't control. But philosophers like Epictetus knew better. Between every stimulus and your response, there's a small gap, a choice point. Think about the last time someone really pushed your buttons. Maybe they insulted your work or said something hurtful. It felt automatic. You automatically got angry, sad, or defensive. But what really happened? Your brain interpreted the situation, assigned meaning to it, and then generated an emotion based on that interpretation. Here's the secret. 2 people can face the same event and have wildly different reactions, depending on how they interpret it. One person gets fired and fears ruin. Another sees it as an opportunity to start fresh. It's all about perspective, and discipline is about taking responsibility for that perspective. You don't need to suppress feelings, but you do need to question whether those feelings serve you. Ask yourself, is this thought helping me or holding me back? Would a disciplined version of myself respond differently right now? Marcus Aurelius practiced this daily, recognizing that even as emperor, he had the power to choose his interpretation, his reaction, and his attitude. He faced betrayals, military defeats, personal losses, yet he learned to find opportunity in every obstacle. He reflected, very little is needed to make a happy life. It's all within yourself, in your way of thinking. Start small. Notice the gap between what happens and how you feel. When anger rises, pause and ask, what story am I telling myself about this situation? When anxiety hits, examine what assumptions you're making about the future. Emotions are data signals, not directives. Acknowledge them, but don't let them rule your actions. The Stoics even imagined losing everything here that wasn't morbid, but to cultivate resilience. They understood that attachment to outcomes beyond your control causes suffering. When you stop needing a specific outcome to be happy, you become unshakable. That's true emotional freedom. Real peace of mind depends on your inner state, not external circumstances. Practice this daily. When someone irritates you, pause. Take 3 deep breaths. Ask yourself, what's the most disciplined response here? You might be surprised at how much power you have over your emotional world. Remember, Imogen, that you can't control everything outside, but you do have control over what's inside you. That's practical wisdom that can truly transform your life. Now, let's go to the third law of present moment mastery. Marcus Aurelius wisely wrote, confine yourself to the present. That simple statement holds the key to mastering your entire life. Many people are mentally scattered, replaying past mistakes or stressing over what's next. They're scrolling social media, comparing their behind-the-scenes lives to everyone else's highlight reels, and never truly here. This fractured attention ruins discipline. It's like having 50 tabs open in your mind at once, switching constantly between them, so nothing gets your full focus. That drain leaves you exhausted without actually doing anything meaningful. The Stoics got this. They knew that the only real place where life happens is the present. The past has already moved on, and the future is uncertain. Only moment you genuinely hold power over is right now. When you're fully present, decisions are sharper, emotions more balanced, and actions more effective. Think of when you felt most alive, probably during a deep conversation, working on something creative, or pushing your physical limits. In those moments, you're completely immersed in the now. Psychologists call this flow state, but the Stoics called it prosaic, continuous attention to the present. They believed that being fully present at your highest level makes you smarter, calmer, and more effective. But it's not just about performance. Being present brings peace. Anxiety, after all, is just fear of the future. Regret is regret over the past. When you're here, those fade away. The modern world, however, fights hard against this constant notifications. News cycles that demand your emotional investment in things you can't change. Social media algorithms designed to hold your attention hostage. Defending your focus is a battle against billion-dollar industries that profit off your distraction. Your attention is your greatest asset. Where you focus, it shapes your experience of life. Regular questions like, what's the most important thing I can do right now, keep you grounded. The more you engage deeply in whatever you're doing, really tasting your food, feeling your steps on the ground, or listening intently, the stronger your focus muscle becomes. Mastering the present isn't just about doing well, it's about being at peace. When you're fully here, anxiety and regret lose their grip. Life becomes richer, more meaningful. The Stoics called this ataraxia, a tranquil, unshakable calm that comes from being completely present in each moment. Every time you notice your mind drifting and gently bring it back, you're doing reps in the gym of consciousness. Each focused breath, each deep engagement, these are small practices that strengthen your attention muscle. Over time, you start living more deeply, experiencing life as it's meant to be lived. Next, I'll talk about transforming obstacles. Fourth law. Marcus Aurelius faced one of history's toughest obstacles. The Antonine Plague ravaged his empire, barbarian tribes threatened invasion, and still, he famously wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." That's the fourth Stoic law of discipline. Obstacles are opportunities in disguise. Most people see resistance as proof they're on the wrong path. When faced with setbacks, they want to give up or run away. But the Stoics saw differently. They understood that challenges are not roadblocks but tool-straining equipment for your character. Think of how your muscles grow stronger from resistance and being challenged. They don't get stronger when you're comfortable, they get stronger when pushed. The same applies to you. Every difficulty is a chance to develop mental toughness, problem-solving skills, and resilience. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What can this challenge teach me?" This shift in perspective is powerful. It's not about toxic positivity or pretending pain doesn't exist. It's about extracting value from every experience, even the tough ones. Epictetus summarized it well. People aren't hurt by events, but by their interpretations of those events. So, the disciplined person rewires how they see obstacles. They use them as stepping stones, not stumbling blocks. When you start seeing problems as training, you begin to love adversity. You embrace challenges, fostering what the Stoics called amor fati, love of fate. Each rejection, each failure, each injury rather than being endings, are opportunities to prove to yourself what you're truly made of. Imagine an entrepreneur rejected by 50 investors before finally securing funding. That rejection isn't the failure, it's preparation. Each no refined their pitch, strengthened their resolve, sharpened their vision. Or think about an athlete sidelined by injury. What seems like the end of their career could actually be a gift in disguise, a chance to grow stronger and wiser. Here's the core insight. Obstacles aren't separate from your path, they are the path. Every challenge is specifically designed to develop the qualities you need to elevate to the next level. Shifting your mindset from "why me" to "how is this helping me" turns setbacks into fuel. The Stoics believed the universe is rational and that everything has a purpose. Whether you buy into that or not, acting as if you do changes everything. When you treat every obstacle as a teacher, you become unstoppable. Reframe setbacks as opportunities for growth, and you'll start to develop what the Stoics called amor fati, love of one's fate. Think about the rejection of a job you wanted, or the injury that halted your progress. Both are not just setbacks, they are the way. When you embrace difficulty, you lose your fear of it. You begin to seek out challenges, knowing that they're the very fabric of your transformation. It's about turning trials into triumphs. And this isn't just about enduring, it's about thriving. When you practice transforming obstacles into opportunities, you train your mind to see the good in adversity. Over time, obstacles don't dominate you, they shape you. The key is the perspective shift. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "How is this happening for me?" Replace "this is terrible" with "this is training." Change "I can't handle this" into "this is teaching me how to handle harder things." When you do this consistently, your fear of obstacles diminishes. Instead, you look forward to challenges because they're proving grounds for your growth. You'll develop amor fati, a love for facing your very setback, every difficulty, every hardship, the way to deepen resilience and unconquerable strength. Now, picture an artist who keeps getting rejected until their work finally gets recognized, or an explorer who faces endless obstacles but keeps pushing forward. What seems like the end is often just the beginning, and that's the power of this law. Finally, understand that these aren't just abstract ideas. They are practical, real tools, mental habits you can cultivate beginning today. Every obstacle you face is tailored to teach you exactly what you need to grow. When you adopt this mindset, fear dissolves and you become more adaptable, more resilient, more unstoppable. I hope this reworked story resonates with your vision. Let me know if you'd like me to continue with the next parts or focus on specific sections.